What's going on? It's your boy SB. All right, so we're basically gonna be talking about a story that came out. It's from an employee. It's from Amazon. It's from an employee in the UK. But when I read this story, I was like, yo, first of all, I identify with this. I know exactly what this person is going through, and this is not just for people who work in Amazon. This is for anybody who's working in these holiday seasons, who's stacking up these overtime hours, and who's really going in. This is something that you want to be aware of and you want to be careful of when working so much overtime. And I'm the main one talking about, yo, let's get this overtime, let's stack up. But I wanted to do this because this is the other side that can happen, and I don't want to happen to people trying to chase all this overtime. Listen, first of all, everybody's built different. You feel me? We're like cars. We got people who's Hondas. We got people who are Chevy trucks. We got Chevy trucks. We got diesel trucks. We got 18-wheelers. We got Teslas. You feel me? It's nothing but Teslas in Scottsdale. Anyways, right now we are just about halfway done with our overtime, with peak season, with Amazon. And most jobs, we have about 2 weeks until Christmas comes. And then at least for Amazon, them overtime days stop there, which is great news. Because I'm not going to lie, when I read this, I was low-key feeling the same way. The site that I'm dealing with, they busy. You feel me? Ain't no VTO. You feel me? It don't even seem like they get breaks over there. If anybody, I don't want to say the building, but I want to be like, yo, if anybody in this building, just give a like to make sure you okay. Cause this building is going crazy all day. I'm like, yo, y'all don't sleep or y'all don't get breaks or what? But I kind of already told you my situation in my department. It's literally, I'm taking requests from like 3 people and it's just me. But anyways, I literally kind of started getting to that point, and I've said it, and I think in one of the last few videos when I was talking about peak season, or at least when I was talking about this position, I talked about how frustrated it got me. But when I'm working my position, this is anybody, whatever position you're in, for me, it's frustrating because I'm doing it for 12 hours sitting down. And for me, it was more stressful because I don't even fully understand everything in this new department. And they throw me in there while peak season is going on. But I remember back when I was in the FC, it wasn't mentally taxing. It was more so just physically taxing, standing up longer, doing the same thing though, and I knew how to do everything, so it was a difference. But this story kind of just resonated with me, and I was like, yo, let me go ahead and at least talk about this because I'm sure it's people who's out here dealing with that, so let's talk about it. All right, so they first go on to say, this is actually the headlines. It says, I cried every day working in an Amazon warehouse in the run up to Christmas, which is what? Peak season. It's physically and mentally exhausting. Is this true? Depending on your position, this can be true. Listen, I've seen people in this very position. I've seen people break literally tears. And the crazy thing is, this is an associate. I've seen managers break down during these times. So this is a important subject. So it goes on to say an Amazon worker told Insider they got depressed after working 6 days a week before Christmas. The worker said after doing it for 10 weeks, they lost hope of having a normal life. And they also said it's like being in the gym 10 hours straight. That's a fact. Amazon Fitness. Y'all thought I was playing when I said that? So this person was in inventory control. I've never been in inventory control, so I don't really know the ins and outs of that. But they say it involves counting how many items are placed into a bin or a pod. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine counting in peak season? I remember listen, forgive me. If you're non-inventory, back in the day at LGB3, I was stuffing them pods. I ain't gonna lie. Peak season, bruh, I didn't turn my pod away for like 3 minutes. I'm in there filling that pod up 100 items per pod. I can only imagine them having to get an item and pull it out because it was so stuffed. All right, so let's continue. So they were in non-inventory. It involves counting how many items were placed in a bin or a pod. So this associate said that they volunteered to increase their overtime from 5 to 6 days because they wanted to earn more. This was a female. So she goes on to say, my husband wasn't working at the time, so I did that for 10 weeks. After that, I got sick and couldn't do it anymore. Listen, that's a big sign right there. When your body starts speaking to you, you definitely listen. I've encountered this twice since I've been working 2 jobs where my body kind of just hits me, makes me slow down. And I kind of got sick for like 1 day, nose sniffy, sneezing, all that stuff. Then I'll recover. Then it happened again, maybe like 2 months later. So that's a sign though. Whenever that happens to me, when I'm doing this, what I'm doing right now, working 2 jobs, I slow it down. You feel me? That's when I'm not posting every single day. I got to pull back. So if you're stressed out and you working, whether it's Amazon or wherever you're working during this holiday season, you trying to put in them hours, listen to your body. So she goes on to say, I had sore muscles, aches and pains. Ooh, Amazon, I'm telling you, you're going to find muscles you didn't know you had. I had shin splints. what is that? You feel me? I didn't even know what it was until I was like, yo, this part of my leg hurts. I don't even know why it hurts. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a shin splint. What is that? So if you at Amazon, you're going to, peak season, you're going to find out all different type of muscles that you didn't even know existed. But let's continue. So she goes on to say, I was exhausted. I had no life outside of work and was constantly physically and mentally exhausted. I felt depressed. I didn't want to see anyone, including my husband and son. So this is another thing. When you start feeling depressed, that's another sign. Here's a sign. I just went through this literally last week. I started feeling super frustrated because I was so frustrated at the job. I love to work my best. And when I'm put in a position where I don't even fully understand completely what I'm doing and I'm getting 100 call outs, you know what I mean, per hour, that is very frustrating. So it got to the point with me where my frustration followed me outside of work. That's the same thing that happens here. So when you get those feelings that you get at work that follow you outside of work and start affecting your personal life, that's another sign. It's time to pull back. It's time to slow down. Listen, the main reason why we all do the overtime is for that reason right there. It cuts off. Yeah, great. The reason that I've even been saying to stack up, which is all true. We want to prepare. We want to stack up, make sure that we're good financially while this opportunity is here. But when these things start happening, we have to kind of be disciplined to pull back enough to at least get out of that zone. These are danger zones. When your body's speaking to you, that's a danger zone. When you're stressed or mentally stressed out to the point it's really affecting you outside of work and your family, that's a danger zone. Those are times when you got to pull back from working those hours. Even, trust me, I know working these overtime hours, oh, it feels great when that check hit the bank. But you have to be careful and you really have to count the cost and you have to try to balance as much as possible because it could truly affect things and even your body if you're not careful. So she goes on to say that on my day off, I just slept. I barely saw my son and would only have a short chat with him before or after school. I lost hope of having a normal life. If you only work and sleep, how else can you feel? I felt depressed every day and cried every day. Now listen, I feel where she's coming from. Who's been having 2 days off a month? I've only been having 2 days off a month. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like too. It almost feels like you're trapped. It's a weird mental feeling when all you do is sleep and work. And then you do it and do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. Your mind is like, yo, this is weird. I've never done this before. So mentally, I was able to break through that, but not everybody can do that. As you can say, like this person was crying every day. So if you're getting to that point where you start crying and you pull back, you got to pull back. And it's easy to say, but this next reason, I feel where they're coming from, but let's see what she says. So she goes on to say, I couldn't leave the job because I was the only one in my family working. It was a bad time and I was constantly tired and angry. I didn't have the energy to do any cleaning or chores. All I can think of was sleep. I didn't see any friends until after Christmas. When I went back to doing 4 days a week, I was still exhausted. It takes time to recover from burnout. So 2 things here. I couldn't leave the job because I was the only one working. How many of us can attest to that? To where you're putting in all these hours because it's needed. Bills that's stacked up. Inflation going through the roof, and then this is an opportunity to capitalize and bring in more money. Trust me, that's what I'm about. But when it starts to bleed over into life like that, you have to pull back a little bit. In my situation, I'll use me as an example. That's why I haven't been dropping and uploading daily like I was weeks ago, because I'm maxed out as a human being right now, working 2 jobs and being full-time YouTube, basically putting in the full-time work as a full-time YouTuber, and 2 Amazon jobs. She's talking about 1 Amazon job. I'm working 2 of them things, 2 Amazon jobs. That's the left brain and the right brain. This is like a danger zone. Once you get to that point, you have to do something. Like if you're doing 6 days and you're feeling like that, listen, I know bills are there. I know all that stuff is there, but you probably got to pull back because it's only so far that you can go where, you feel me? That's when you max out mentally and then you try to cross that, that's when people have breakdowns. That's when, you know what I mean? That's when things kind of go to that next level. And how many people today in America have to take some kind of pill to suppress this feeling or take some type of pill to suppress this feeling and then stress, this type of stress on top of that, trust me, I understand the financial situations. It's rough for a lot of people, but if you're maxing yourself out, you may have to pull back a little bit just so you can stay mentally right. So I just wanted to touch on that story because as soon as I seen it, I was like, yo, I feel that 1000%. And me being somebody who's always been pushing me and everybody who follows my channel, like, yo, let's prepare. Let's stack up as much as we can. We have opportunity to work overtime. Let's do it. It's like, I have to be aware that there's people who can't just do that. Or I want to be careful that I don't over encourage somebody to go max themselves out and get in this type of state. There, I got 2 overtime days left. I'm happy. I'm not going to lie to y'all. But listen, if you need to go home early, if you feeling stressed out, if you have, be careful with that UPT. Don't go negative. But if I'm sitting on 80 hours, you feel me? Like, why am I not using some of that? I can just skim some off the top and still be coming up. We want to push ourselves. We want to make sure that we don't break ourselves. Also, Amazon responded to this story. So, so what they said is working in the warehouse is not for everybody. That's 1000%, 1000%. But as somebody like myself who's worked in a warehouse, even if you've worked in a warehouse during this time is no joke. And if you're in a warehouse, you're packing, you're stowing, non-inventory or accounting, whatever you're doing, if you feel like you're getting to that point mentally, let somebody know. Go to your AM, let them know. Because if you go to a manager and you let them know, hey, I'm feeling like, I may get to a breaking point here, and they don't take action on that and something happens to you, you do have like an anxiety attack or something happens, and then you end up going to HR and you let them know like, hey, I told them I was at this point, that could be an issue. All this is just my opinion. You feel me? I'm not a representative. I'm not a spokesman for the company. But if you are feeling those type of things, let them know. Anyways, it's your boy SB. We almost done with peak. Let's keep it going, but be safe, but let's rack up. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit the notification bell. Yes, I'm also an artist. This song is about to come on. It's called Whoa, off my project called Motivated. Link will be in the description if you want to support and check it out. iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. It's your boy SB. Let's go.
Look, they say I couldn't do it, but I did. Turn stacks to a crib. Yeah, going up, going in. Let them sleep, bedtime, tuck them in. If I'm alive, I'ma live. Mama said if you gon' do it big. Yeah, motivated till the end. Never break, never bend. Finna have them like, whoa.